out there. Looks like we possibly have some expats, those people that receiving Social Security and are living overseas. We got some very, very good news for you. This has been the bane of your existence for many, many years, I'm sure. So we're going to talk about that, and that is those forms, the proof of life forms. Social Security if you're living overseas. Obviously, if you're living in the United States and you shuffle off your mortal coil and kick the bucket, whatever you want to use, then the funeral homes, the coroner's office in your particular state notifies Social Security, and Social Security notifies the Department of Treasury, and they take out that they don't send you that last check. And if they sent you that last check, then they take it out of your bank account. But if you live overseas, there is no deals that the United States has with all those hundreds of countries out there for the coroners, funeral homes, and all the rest of it. So how does Social Security make sure you're still out there? Is they send you those forms. There's a couple of them. One, if you are taking care of your own benefits, and then there's another one if someone is a caregiver that's your representative payee. And up until now, what people have had to do is they had to wait for the mail, and hopefully the letter got to them in time, and they filled it out. So hopefully they filled it out correctly, and then they returned it, and then they had to hope it got back to the Office of International Operations in Pennsylvania, or wherever they send it, and hopefully their benefits don't stop. Because if Social Security doesn't get that letter, then their benefits stop automatically. Actually, they give you another chance and they send out another one, but if it didn't work the first time, it usually doesn't work the second time. But all of that is ending now, and this is brand new news, and I'm going to show you the policy, and let's keep an eye on this. So I've got the comments of this video, let's monitor this. So this is a brand new policy. It's called the signature proxy. Social Security calls it attestation. I've done this a few million times. Basically, some Social Security forms, you can, rather than just a wet signature, as Social Security calls it, a pen and ink signature, they can attest. You can attest. They can take an attestation, and they'll ask you, says, do you understand the penalty and perjury, yada, yada, yada. If you answer yes, 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 then that's like a wet signature. So that's what they're expanding out to, the 7162 and the 7161. So congratulations. Now you don't have to deal with this. But we want to make sure this is a brand new policy. It just came out August 27th, 2025. Brand new emergency message there. So 7162, 7161, and they talk about the background. The Social Security has been using this since 2004, the attestation rather than the pen and ink signature, and they've used it for a whole bunch of different forms, and now they're expanding it to these particular forms. Okay, so here's the whole process, is that if you get one of those forms and you don't want to trust, sending it back through snail mail, then you can call. And it says, who do you call? Who do you call? You can call your, the federal benefits unit in your particular area, wherever your federal benefits unit is in your particular area, or you can call one of the Social Security offices back home, or the 800 number back home. And it says that any Social Security, it says employees authorized to use alternative signature forms, all Social Security employees in U.S. Social Security offices who take and input initial claims and post-entitlement changes. That is pretty much every single employee that works in the 1,200 offices throughout the country. They all do inputs, initial claims, and post-entitlement, PE issues. And so the people that pick up the phone in any office in the country, that's who they are. They do that. Or outside the United States, only the federal benefits unit with foreign service posts. There are only a few of those federal benefits units. There are people in embassies and consulates, U.S. embassies and consulates throughout the world that help you with Social Security, but they're just kind of an intake type thing where you fill out the form, you give it to them, they may check it a little bit if they know anything, and then they send it to the federal benefits unit. And there's only a few of those. And the federal benefits units throughout the world, there's a few of them, handful of those. They are actually Social Security employees. I've known many of those, and so they're doing a kind of a rotating, kind of appointment in those particular places. So here's what we want to do. We want to make sure this is done correctly. So if you get one of these, and you currently have one of these in hand, call. I probably avoid the federal benefits unit because it's hard there's a nightmare to get a hold of those guys. I would call the 800 number back home, 800-772-1213. I would call your local Social Security office, wherever your place of, full-time permanent residence is back in the United States, where you were born, or, wherever the case may be. And you're probably going to need to have this. And because they're not going to know, probably a majority of the people that you talk to are probably not going to know what you're talking about. I guarantee it. So with Social Security, the staffing is at a 50-year low. Elon Musk and Doge fired a whole bunch of people, so they are skeleton crews pretty much throughout the agency. So it's very, very hard to get anybody, and the training, because they're just barely, staying above water in a lot of these offices. So I'm sure the training is really, really hurting. This is so you can tell them it's a POMS. That's the policy manual that Social Security uses. It's a brand new thing that came out August 27th, and you can give them this code right there, GN00201TN38. And they can pull it up, and they'll read it real quick, and they'll say, oh, okay, and they'll find out exactly how to do it, and it'll tell them exactly in here how to do it. So when you call them up and you talk to someone, say, hey, I've got this form. Or if I get a lot of questions during the live Q&A that says, I usually get a form about this time, but I haven't got it yet, and I'm really paranoid my benefits are going to stop. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? The Office of International Operations, those forms, they go out kind of haphazardly sometimes. So you may not have gotten one, or you may have gotten one and it just got lost in the mail somewhere. So, but this is a good thing. So if you think you usually get it around this time and you're kind of paranoid that it got lost in the mail, then do the same thing. Call up the 800 number, call up the Federal Benefits Unit, call your local district office back in the States, and tell them, hey, I want to do my 7162 or 7161 on the phone. And they will say, what are you talking about? And then you say, yeah, it's a new policy that just came out a few days ago, whenever you're watching this. And here is the number. So yeah, go ahead and research it for a little bit. I'll stay on hold, and then the person will check it out. And they said, oh, okay, I got it. All right. So, and then they'll read you the attestation, and it says under penalty of perjury, you truth or this. They'll ask you a few questions. So this is what they'll say. This is exactly, during this interview, we will ask you questions. It will be used to complete this 7162. At the end of the interview, I've read this a million times. So you have to answer yes to all those, that you want to attest this over the phone. And then they will send it back to the office there in Wilkes-Barre, the Office of International Operations back there. They'll send it in, and you're good. So, but what I would do is make sure you take that person's name down. Because again, this is a new policy, and we want to make sure, they do this correctly and for your own protection. So make a note and say, hey, on September 1st, 2025 at 3 o'clock American Pacific West Coast time, I called the Sacramento or Tampa district office, and I talked to Bill, and we did the 7162 over the phone, and he read the attestation to me, and I told him I'm still alive and kicking out here, and he said he would send it in, and we're all good. And that way, if there's never an issue in the future, then you've got that kind of, documentation in case they stop your benefits, give you a hard time. So again, this is a new policy, so please, we need to follow this. In my comments, if you do call, tell us how it went. Give us any tips, tricks, and secrets on how it went. But again, you're going to have to give the employees a little bit of latitude. This is a brand new thing. I'm sure they're not going to do training on, because they're probably going to send this notification out to everybody like they do. It's called daily policy net upchanges. And yeah, the employees are not going to have time to read it because they've got 10, 15 other emails that day with policy changes. So unfortunately, we're going to have to be a little bit patient with them. You can always call your politician and tell them they need to improve customer service at Social Security. That will help out everything. But politicians don't want to improve customer service at Social Security because they want it to be as terrible as possible. So it's easier to cut in the future. But that's a whole different thing. So please comment if you're doing this, how it went, whether it was good, bad, easy. If your benefits have been cut off because you didn't do it, were they able to restart it? And that's another thing. If your benefits already been cut off because you didn't return the form or got lost somehow, then make sure they expedite this. Tell them that, hey, send this thing in immediately. And because Social Security does, hasn't been sent to the Office of International Operations. It's just, you just talk to Bill in Tampa, Florida. Tell them, hey, I have been cut off because you didn't get the form. We just did the form online. Push through, unsuspend my benefits. And they should be able to unsuspend your benefits. They definitely better be able to. So just tell them, hey, I just completed the form with you. My benefits has been suspended for a month or two. Go ahead and unsuspend my benefits, and that will release the current benefit plus any benefits that were suspended. And they'll push that through direct deposit. So there you go. All right. And for those people living overseas, then I've got other resources as well. You go to my website, mygovexpert.com there. And you click on more, and you click on the little button that says living overseas. And I've got a bunch of other resources on the 6-month rule, reporting requirements, receiving disability benefits overseas, SSI overseas, which is 30 days, Medicare coverage overseas. That's the big question I get. Should I keep Medicare? Banking considerations. So check out the website. It's 100% free. Got a bunch of resources on there on filing for retirement benefits, disability benefits, survivor benefits, family, Medicare, veterans, appeals, myths, living on Social Security alone, tons of questions and answers. So make sure you check it out. I've got a bunch of free calculators there, and it's all 100% free. All right, so we've got a lot of questions there. If you've got any questions on the entire expat process, please let me know. But let's see what other kind of questions we got here. Are supplemental insurance plans coming up for renewal? Okay, so if we're in terms of Medicare, when you get original Medicare, there's a lot of gaps. The big one being that, the 20% Part B gap, that if you have some surgery that costs $100,000, then let me pull up, if you have a surgery that's $100,000, you have to pay 20%. So you have to pay $20,000 out of pocket. And there's a bunch of deductibles for if you're in the hospital, and yearly deductible, so there's a lot of gaps in there. So people either get a Medicare supplement plan, also called a Medigap plan, or a Medicare Advantage plan. So when you say supplemental, they're both kind of supplemental, but one is actually called the Medicare supplement. And those are not necessarily up for renewal. Those are, like the Plan N, the Plan G, Plan F. When you have those, unless you, try to find one that's going to be a little bit cheaper or something, you have those forever. So it may change the price depending on how you bought it yearly. But other than that, a Plan G in 2024 is the exact same plan as in 2025, 2026, 2027. The only thing, maybe the price might go up. But in terms of Medicare Advantage plans, yes, all of those are only good for 1 year. So if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, your Medicare Advantage plan is going to disappear December 31st. They might renew it. If you don't do anything, they will automatically renew it, but it's going to be a kind of a new plan. You'll have the same, Medicare or the Medicare Advantage card, and maybe the same company, and maybe possibly the same doctors. But all of the details, all the stuff under the hood could very well change. The prices that you would pay for a hospital, the prices you pay for your prescriptions, are the prescriptions covered? Is your doctor covered? Is your hospital covered? So all of that changes. And the new plans come out October 1st, and you're able to change your plan, your Medicare Advantage, and your Part D. All of that renewal thing also applies to Part D, the prescription drug plan. So those expired December 31st as well. So you can reach out to Chapter there, and they can definitely help you out 100% free, and make sure you are in this best plan for you for 2026. There's a lot of people. There's close to, I estimate, probably close to about 1 million people that are going to get their Medicare Advantage plans canceled because there is a super large company, the biggest in the market, that said they're going to cancel 600,000 individual plans, people's plans, those PPO plans. And some other insurance companies have said pretty much they're going to do that too. So I'm estimating with that 600,000 and some of the other ones, we're probably close to about 1 million people are going to have their Medicare Advantage plans, those PPO plans, canceled. And that's good for some people, because if you get your plan, Medicare Advantage plan canceled, that means you have guaranteed issue rights to get a Medicare supplement plan without any underwriting. You don't have to jump through the underwriting hoops. So a lot of people have already said, "Oh, I hope they cancel me. I hope they cancel me." So you don't usually say that in normal life, but in this case, a lot of people hope to get canceled. So if I pass before collecting Social Security, will my spouse receive my full retirement age benefit? She is on SSDI now, age 61. Yes. If you don't collect benefits, then when you pass, the surviving spouse will receive 100%, depending on their age. It also depends on their age. So if you're good for another 6 or 7 years, at least a good 60 years, right, Justby? But if your spouse is her full retirement age, then she will get 100% of your full benefit amount, the full retirement age amount, the PIA, the primary insurance amount at your full retirement age. If that event happens earlier, then anytime someone receives benefits from Social Security early, it's reduced. So if your wife starts receiving benefits at 62, then it's reduced. But what she can do is, if something happens within the next few years, she can continue to collect her SSDI and delay receiving survivor benefits until she hits her full retirement age. And if that's best for her, but if she needs the money, she needs the money. But she can always delay receiving survivor benefits until she's her full retirement age, so she receives 100% of your full benefit amount. So, but make sure she also gets that $255 lump sum death benefit. So there's that. But you're good for another 50 years. Take a took. Yeah, the Navy vet and career Social Security worker is a hero. He has let everyone know that Doge collated information from more than one Social Security database and posted on a server that was not secure. Yeah, and it was just announced today that he resigned involuntarily. I guess they allegedly harassed him so much that he says, I can't work here anymore. They're, give me a hard time. So he decided to bail. So that's, that's going to be an issue. You can't do that to whistleblowers. When someone is a whistleblower and they drop the dime on their bosses, the bosses can't harass them like that. That they're open. He is definitely going to sue. He is. Thanks for your help. Can I apply for Social Security benefit for my child online? You should be able to, but if I would probably do it over the phone, because you're also going to have to take a representative pay application. And if you didn't do it originally, you might have some back pay, and you want to make sure you get your back pay there. And then they're going to need some type of proof, a birth certificate that has your name on it, that's your, child or your, stepchild or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I would definitely, yeah. You're not a doctor. Well, I'm not a medical doctor. You're correct. I have a PhD in, yeah. So it's doctor, but not a medical doctor. You're correct. I could never be a doctor. Oh my gosh, no way, never in a million years. We need to call our senators and representatives, tell them to protect Mr. Borges from retaliation by DOJ or any other government entities. He's protecting our personal info and doing the right job. Yeah, we're a tad bit late, but yes. Are they limiting but we can definitely, yeah, reach out to your politicians and tell them this is completely unacceptable. Absolutely. Are they limiting the payback? Two, are they limiting the payback? I'm not sure what their payback. Yeah, I'm not sure what type of payback are we talking about. Let's see here. Other kind of questions. I think it was Mr. Borges who resigned yesterday when this program was live. Maybe Doctor would talk about, yes, he did resign. So. Ed, I don't understand why I can have help from my federal husband, Social Security. I was from 65 to 70 years old on his Social Security at 700. At 70, I got my 1775. Yeah, in terms of the federal benefit, that's between you and him. I guess you and the OPM, Office of Personnel Management, for the federal benefit. But in terms of Social Security, at 70 years, I got my 1775. Okay, so you were on survivor benefits. Yes, yep. So you were on survivor benefits from 65 to 70, and then you did the smart thing, and you let your benefits increase on your own record, and then at 70, you switched to benefits on your own record. Yeah, sounds like you did great. But you're still technically getting benefits from him. You're just not getting two full checks. You're technically it's called dual entitlement. You're getting the $700 as a surviving spouse from him, and then you're kind of getting the difference on your own record. That's kind of how they do it. So is this only applicable to U.S. beneficiaries living overseas? Yeah, because, yeah, it's the only people it will be applicable to, because if you're here in the United States and you pass away in the United States, then you don't need to worry about this. This is only for people, expats that live overseas. I guess, I mean, if you're an expat and you're back visiting, and you need to fill out that form. Yeah. So I guess if you're, I guess that applies to you. I want to let you know that I will finally receive my retro pay from Social Security Fairness Act. And I had a call today, yes, on Saturday, from a great Social Security employee that my check is coming next week. Okay, Susan, awesome. Awesome, good deal. Yeah, they, so yours was one of those difficult ones that I said originally when this first passed. I said, within the first 4 or 5 months, a vast majority of them will be done, because it's just a programming thing. They just unwep people's PIA. But yours, and I said, there's probably going to be, people that are going to take a little bit longer. And I think there's also going to be people that they miss. That's going to be an unfortunate part, but yeah, great. Awesome. Glad they took care of you finally. And they were working on Saturday. So that means they had, that particular office had a little bit of overtime. Let's see, Dr. Ware, really love the information you provide. It's sad when the elderly constantly hear false rumors regarding their Social Security. Thanks for your setting their record straight, and $20 donation. Thank you. Gotcha. Got my coffee, my son and I coffee for the day. You're too awesome. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, we spend a lot of time doing videos on, okay, here's the other social media BS story going out. So yeah. There's unfortunately a lot, and I think it's probably half-half. Well, no, I think politicians win because they've been doing it longer. All the misinformation politicians, I think they're 80%, and the other 20% are social media people trying to get clicks, but passing on incorrect information. So yeah, it's sad. Is it true that at 176,000, when deductions for FICA stop, it also determines the highest income considered by Social Security for benefits? Yeah, $176,100. And a lot of people don't know that when you file for Social Security benefits, how your benefits are calculated. And it's been progressive since 1935. If you or your average earnings throughout your life, the high 35 years was like $1,000 a month, you're going to get 90% of that. So you're going to get $900. You're going to get a 90%, replacement factor, because that's what Social Security is, a replacement for lost wages when you retire or become sick. So if your average earnings are $1,000 throughout your life, you're going to get a 90% replacement factor, which means you're going to get $900 when you retire. If your average earnings throughout your life were $10,000 monthly, then your replacement is probably around 35%. So you're going to get about $3,500. So not 90%, but 35. And that applies to 97% of people out there, except, I hate to tell you, the person that just got their Social Security Fairness Act, that doesn't apply to them. They get a higher percentage than everybody else. That's why it's kind of unfair. The previous system was unfair, and the new system is unfair as well. So I guess politicians, two wrongs make a right in politics anyway. So at 62, can you take Social Security and work full time? Yeah, if your full-time job is under 23,400. If it's over 23,400, then Social Security is going to hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. So, do you have info on reassuming student loan debt after disability discharge approval? Is there a timeline? Yeah, sorry, I don't. Yeah, I'm not good on student loans. I've been a university professor for a few decades, and I know there's a lot of people that my students have student loans are probably still paying those. So I guess I was the culprit in that, but it was between him and the university. But yeah, I'm not really up on student loans and how to get those figured out. I'm 61 and on SSDI. What is the SGA for me before triggering penalties? The substantial gainful activity this year is $1,620. But remember, you do have what's called the trial work period, where you can work as much as you want and still collect your Social Security benefits for 9 months. So you go onto my website, click on the little Social Security thing at the top, click on disability, and go down there and click on the little green button that says working and benefits. And it gives you, I've got a PDF there. It explains all the work incentives, explains the trial work period, the extended period of eligibility, got a little calculator there. But this year, to trigger the trial work period, it's $1,160. The regular SGA is $1,620. So I had a $120,000 surgery and didn't pay no deductible. Yeah, so that means you have a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare Supplement plan. So, yep. If you didn't, then you would have to pay, And people say, no, the surgery is covered. That was in the hospital, so it's covered at hospital. No, that's not how it works. So Part A covers your hospitalization. Part B covers your doctors and outpatient type stuff. Okay. But let's say you go in a hospital for a surgery. Part A, hospitalization, covers the hospital, your room and all that food and all that kind of stuff, the nursing and everything. But when the doctor, does a surgery on you, that's the doctor. So that's covered under Part B. And that's 20% deductible. So someone covered your 20%. So it's a beautiful thing. Bella, so when I filed my own work record must have been more than $1 over half this amount since he's continued to work. Yeah, in terms of, sounds like you're talking about filing for spouse benefits. If that person is out there alive somewhere, you're filing a spouse claim or divorce spouse claim, then your benefit amount has to be less than half of that person's benefit amount. It's different if we're talking about a surviving spouse claim. If that person's benefit amount is $1 over years, then you're eligible potentially for that $1. So can I claim ex-spouse record benefits at the age of 65 and work same time? Yeah, again, but your work has to be under the 23,400. Anything over that, then they're going to hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. So let's see here. When do you get what Social Security hold up for excess income? Do you get notified of the payback? Oh, okay, so you are receiving, let's say, retirement benefits, and you started those benefits early, and you worked over the $23,400, and then they withheld $1 for every $2 you get back. Okay, they're not going to give you that back. They're going to unreduce your benefit amount once you hit your full retirement age. So how it works is if you take your benefits 30 months early, your benefit amount is reduced by 30 months. But let's say you go back to work after a while and you don't receive a check. So let's say you get your benefit, you get 10 checks, and then the following 20 you don't get because you've gone over the annual earnings limit. They withhold those benefits. So technically you've only got 10 checks. So once you hit your full retirement age and you restart your benefits, they're going to look at it and says, hey, your benefit amount is reduced by 30 months, but you didn't take 20 months. You only took 10 months. So we're going to recalculate your benefits. And from now on, your benefit amount, your monthly benefit amount is only going to be reduced by 10 months because that's what you did. You took your benefits 10 months early. The other 20 months you didn't get. So that's the only recalculate, and that's 100% automatic. So let's see. Why would they suspend your benefits if you're leaving out of the country? Because you didn't return the form. I don't know how to change from Medicare Part A to Part B. State is doing AI starting January. B is best. Yeah, you don't change from one to the other. If you're receiving Social Security benefits and you're 65 years old, then you have to get Part A. Or if you're on disability after 2 years, Part A is automatic. You can't get out of that one. But you're looking to add Part B, it sounds like. Then if you recently lost health care from current work, your current work or your spouse's current work, you had 20, then the company had 20 more employees, then you're in your special enrollment period, and then you can go ahead and sign up for Part B. You're in the special enrollment period. Let me go ahead and pop this up there. So the enrollment periods, if you're just turning 65 and you want to add, Part B, which is probably not your case because you already got Part A. If you don't have a special enrollment period like that, then you're going to have to wait until January and be in the general enrollment period, which lasts from January 1st to March 31st. So if you start your benefits, if you file for Part B in January, Part B will start in February 1st. So let's see here. Hello, I am watching the replay. This is actually live. I truly appreciate the updates. Social media content creators are putting out so much misinformation on every single topic. Thank you for sharing the truth with us. Yeah. And luckily, some of them, there's one or two out there that just misinterpreted the policy sometime. And so I sent them a little note and I'm saying, hey, you kind of missed this one. You've given out incorrect information. And one or two people actually took it down. So that's a beautiful thing. So someone's nitpicking my doctor versus, yeah, if you have a PhD, you're technically a doctor. You're not actually, people often criticize me, and rightly so. And I'm so sensitive, my Marine Corps drill instructor was, anyway. You're not, technically, it's not proper, it's not, I don't know, doctor and PhD, it's either Dr. Ed Weir or Ed Weir PhD. But the reason I put both on there is I want people, because people call me Dr. Ed, so that's why. And then, but I want people to know I'm not an MD, I'm not a medical doctor, because, people have disability questions and they think I'm a medical doctor and they want to use that as part of their disability something. So I'm not a medical doctor. And it's funny when you're in, When you work for Social Security, you can't use any of that. You're not allowed to. So when I work for Social Security, I couldn't use Dr. Ed or PhD or any of that because of that reason, because we had a lot of people in there that would think that I am a doctor and I was the one, adjudicating their disability claim. So on Social Security, you won't find anybody at Social Security, even if they have a PhD, they won't use that, or they won't, because they're not allowed to. So that's part of the Social Security policy. Let's see. Be aware if you sense up with a PPO, if not in network, you pay 40% doctors. Yeah, it really depends. And that's one of the reasons these health insurance companies, the Medicare Advantage plans, are getting rid of those PPOs. And because they want to control costs more. So when you get a Medicare Advantage, you can get a choice of in most places, an HMO or a PPO. And HMO is, a restricted network. It's doctors and clinics and hospitals that have contracts with that Medicare insurance company. And so that's how they control costs. When you have a PPO, you can pretty much go anywhere. And sometimes that costs that company more money. So that's one of the reasons they're getting rid of those PPOs. So if you have a PPO, please, please, please check. You're going to get your ANOC in September, your annual notice of change. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, a prescription drug plan, you're going to get a letter in the mail. Make sure you get that letter and read it. And it'll tell you all the changes for 2026, because you don't want to be surprised. I hear that all the time. In July, someone comes on here and says, I just had to go to the doctor and I had to pay $1,000. But when I signed up for this plan 3 years ago, it was only supposed to be $20 a night for the hospital. Well, that was 3 plans ago. Your plan has changed 3 times since. And this year, there's going to be a lot of changes. So if you want to help reviewing that, reach out to Chapter, and they can definitely help you out 100% for free. Find out if your plan is going to be the best for next year. If it is, they'll tell you just let it ride. You don't have to do anything. It'll automatically enroll. If there's something better out there, then they'll give you your options, tell them what you need in terms of physicians, prescriptions, price, any other bells and whistles you're looking for, and they will definitely help you out. So. Doe, I filed for disability and have not received it. Been denied, appealed. 62 now, should I file for Social Security? So regular, yeah, it's completely up to you. That's what some people do. But I would continue fighting for that disability. So you been denied, appealed. So are you in your second stage of appeal? So you filed the SSA 561 request for reconsideration. You were denied. File the SSA 501 and request a hearing with the administrative law judge. If you go all the way, it takes forever, even worse now. But they have a lot more latitude. So I would fight it. But in the meantime, you need money. So yes, what a lot of people do is they just go ahead and, since they're 62, they go ahead and start their Social Security benefits while they're waiting for their disability to be approved. And in your case, it shouldn't be an issue. But if people do that, if they file for retirement benefits and disability at the same time, and later their disability is approved, their disability benefit might be reduced a little bit based on how many months they were taking their retirement benefits. But in your case, if they approve you, they're probably going to approve you before you started your retirement, so it shouldn't be an issue for you. So it's called a rib after dib and dib after rib. And so, yeah, it should be an issue for you. So, and then the third stage, the administrative law judge stage, that's the one I usually recommend people, getting a lawyer. If you want to get a lawyer at that time. And get a local lawyer, someone that knows the local judges and stuff like that. So, yeah. I'm a federal employee and retiring on September 30th, 3025. With FEHB benefits. When do I have to apply for Part B? I am turning 70 in November. If you're federal employee health benefits, you technically don't have to sign up for Part B if you don't want to, unless you're a TRICARE or something. But I would reach out to OPM changes all the time, so I'd reach out to them. But normally, if you're a FEHB, you're usually goodish. If you want to sign up and get B and get a Medicare Advantage. I wouldn't get a Medicare supplement plan in your case because that's going to cost you money and you're already paying for FEHB, Federal Employees Health Benefits. So I wouldn't get a Medicare supplement plan. If you want some of the, if there's a Medicare Advantage plan in your area that has some bells and whistles, then maybe some people do that for a year or two to get those extra bells and whistles, since most of those are zero premium per month, but you don't, probably won't even need that. You're good. So, but I would reach out to OPM and double check with them and say, hey, do I actually have to sign up for Part B? You know, and if you work for the post office, yes. And so maybe some agencies are moving to that as well. So, some refuse to believe Social Security is reduced 20 and 23% if nothing done. 2 elderly women said, you must be a liberal. They believe everything the admin says about immigrants, 120-year-olds, et cetera. All I want to do is help. Yeah. He just, and they're betting with their future. It's unfortunate. So, and the Social Security trustees say, you know, we're going to get cuts 23% in a few years. Yeah. I'm actually, the video I'm going to do tomorrow is about how difficult it is. It's going to be tomorrow or the next day, on immigrants. You know, people think that, you know, immigrants just, you know, walk into the Social Security office and start their Social Security benefits. No, I'm going to show you all of the hurdles, all of the ways Social Security stops people that are in the country, or anybody, from illegally collecting Social Security benefits. And I'm not going to tell you everything. I'm going to tell you about 80% of the stuff that they do. The other 20%, I'm not going to tell you. Is Medicaid the same thing as an Advantage plan? No. Do Medicaid recipients pick an Advantage plan or no? So Medicaid is a federal-state partnership. It's a healthcare plan for low-income, low-resource individuals. It's administered by the states, so it's called different things in different states: Sooner Care, or Denali Care, or Medi-Cal, and so it goes by a whole bunch of different names. It's not the same as an Advantage plan. If you have Medicaid and Medicare, then you can get a Medicare Advantage plan. If you have the higher levels of Medicaid, then you can get what's called a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. And those are the ones, sometimes, depends on your area, that might have the extra bells and whistles and some more money or food cards or whatever the case may be. So you can choose, if you have Medicaid and Medicare, you have to have both, Part A and Part B of Medicare. You can get a Medicare Advantage plan if you want. So just, you know, if you have both of those, it doesn't hurt to try to see, and you can always cancel it. Again, those plans are only good for a year. So if you get it because there's some type of food card that you like, you get the food card, and then after a year, December 31st comes around, and you can say, yeah, no, I don't like it, then you can get out. And there's actually, if you have a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan, there's some other times you can get out. So you can reach out to Chapter, and they'll go through all the interesting things in your particular state, and see what's available and see if there's anything good for you. Thank you, Dr. Weir. I'm so grateful for all you and your son do for us. You're welcome. Thank you. I've been your info with others and trying to help others dealing with Medicaid issues here in Michigan. Dari Barber, you are exactly who we need. So I'm working on this new platform that's going to make it easier. We're going to have all this information consolidated, and so I'm working with our computer guys now, and we're developing the entire thing. AI sucks. You know, the whole thing about, oh, AI can write code. No, it can't. It sucks. Yeah. So anyway, so we're working on that now. My computer programmers are hating me because every day I call them up and say, oh, we need to add this thing. We need to add this cool thing too, and to make it easier for people. And so that's why, yeah. Talk about ex-spouse benefits. We've been divorced and neither have remarried for 20 years. Okay. Actually, I've got someone that's got a question. So let's go into the video question. So I think that's goes right into that as well. So I'll knock out 2 birds, 1 stone.
Hi, I'm Sandy and I am from Louisiana. I have a multifaceted question. At the age of 50, I applied for and was approved for and have been receiving SSDI. I also got divorced. My ex and I were married for 32 years, and I remarried at 54, but it lasted less than 2 years, and we got divorced. I have not been remarried since, and today I am 64. I would be 65. I will be 65 in December. My ex that I was married to for 32 years was, he turned 65 in May of this year. So my question is, can I still qualify to apply for his Social Security? And do I need to wait until he would be turning 67?
Okay. All right. So I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is, yes, you can apply. Absolutely. So you were married to your first husband for at least 10 years. You got remarried after that and you're divorced. So that doesn't negate anything. No issues whatsoever. Since you're now, if you got remarried after 60, then it wouldn't affect anything. But you've since got divorced. So you can collect benefits from your first husband. You were married 10 years. The benefit amount is important. I did a video on this about a week ago. I went into more detail on spouse benefits, ex-spouse benefits. But your benefit amount on your own record has to be less than half of his full benefit amount. So that the numbers matter. So you call Social Security and you tell them, I want to file for spouse benefits, ex-spouse benefits, divorce spouse benefits. Here's my Social Security number. Here's his Social Security number. If you don't have it, no big deal. Just give him his name, his date of birth, or his age, where you think he was born, and they can find his Social Security number, and they will look at his PIA, his primary insurance amount, the amount he would receive at his full retirement age, and they'll look at your PIA, and if yours is less than half of his, then they will say, yep, you got some more money there. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and schedule an appointment and get you that money. So you'll need to provide a marriage certificate and a divorce decree to prove that at least 10 years marriage. But don't delay. Don't delay. Call Social Security immediately. And here it is. It's August 30th. This is the bad news. You lost money. But you don't want to lose any more. So call immediately. If you're out there, call now. Run to the phone and call 800-772-1213. And because September is coming up, and if you call September 1st, then you can start your benefits in September. But if you call August, you can start your benefits in August because that's your protective filing. So call immediately. And if you can't get through, they don't pick up or something like that, get on your phone and, you've got your phone there and it says you're calling 800-772-1213 or the local district office or wherever. And it says you've been on hold for 5-10 minutes, 5 hours or whatever. Take a screenshot of that and that way, if you do get a hold of them in September, you can show them, hey, I called you guys in August, but y'all didn't pick up the phone, and they better give you that month back pay. Here's the bad news, is that you could have been receiving benefits for a while. If the calculations work and you are eligible for benefits on his record, you could have been collecting benefits for the last few years, possibly. Because number one, you said he was 65, and you can collect benefits on an ex-spouse's record, even if they haven't started benefits themselves. It's called independently entitled divorced spouse benefits. You had to be married to the person for 10 years, and you have to be divorced from that person for 2 years, just on that independently entitled divorced spouse type of benefit. So you could have been receiving benefits on his record for years, unfortunately. But at least going forward, you'll be able to collect benefits. And one thing, and it's not going to affect your SSDI. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to file for the extra benefit. Sure, it's extra money, but because I'm on SSDI, it's going to kick me off SSDI, and then I'm going to lose my Medicare. No, that doesn't work. That's not how it works. You're going to continue to receive your disability. You'll just receive the extra money on top of it, not, one offsets the other. But what I would do if you got some incorrect information, like if you called them 6 months ago or a year ago or 2 years ago and you asked them about that and they gave you incorrect information, which they do, unfortunately, on the independently entitled divorce spouse benefits, maybe you called them a year or 2 years ago and the person that picked up the phone says, oh, no, you can't file for benefits on his record because he hasn't started his benefits yet. That is 100% incorrect. That's a thing that people mess up all the time. The people at the front windows, the people that answer the phone, the generalists. If you get back to the back and talk to an actual Title II claim specialist, which I was, Title II of the Social Security Act, they know independently entitled divorce spouse benefits, so it's not an issue. But a lot of people get misinformation on that. So if you were given that misinformation when you go talk to, don't tell the person on the phone, because they don't care. They'll just set you up an appointment. But when you actually have your appointment with the Title II claim specialist, then you will tell them, okay, is there any more money there? Oh yeah, there's more money there. And so let's go ahead and start you an application, and we're going to start in, this month in August or September or whatever. And then you start saying, okay, here's the deal. I called you all a year ago and this is what I was told, so, definitely fight for what you are eligible for, what you paid for, or what he paid for. And because you were married to the person for 10 years, you're eligible for that money. So, can I sell a car if I'm on Social Security and Medi-Cal and Medicaid? Okay, so if you're on regular Social Security, it doesn't matter. If you're on Medicare, it doesn't matter. Medi-Cal is Medicaid. So it is, in California, I think in California, the resource limit is very, very high. So I would reach out to Medicaid in California and check about the resource limit. So if you're selling a car and you're going to buy another car to go back and forth to your doctor's appointments, in almost all states, that's not an issue. So I would, if this is your second car, in some states, they do count your second car as resources. But yeah, if you're already receiving Medi-Cal and you have another car, second car, then California, it sounds like it doesn't have an issue. But I would reach out to them anytime that happens, and and because anytime when you sign up for Medicaid, food stamps, SSI, the supplemental security income, Section 8 housing, all that stuff, you give that government entity permission to monitor your financial records, your bank account. So if you sell your car and then put that money in your bank account, there's a trigger, an alert that goes to the Medicaid office, and it says, hey, this person just got, $1 billion put in their bank account. You need to contact that person and, kick them off Medicaid if appropriate. So it's always good to do a little preemptive strike and check it out first. So Tweety Bird, what's up, Tweety? Any guesses how much Part A is going up next year? Part A, 0. Yeah. Well, no, for 99.9% of people, 0. Some people do pay, I'm sure Tweety Bird means Part B, but anyway, but some people do pay a monthly premium for Part A. So those people that don't have enough quarters of coverage, they can voluntarily buy Part A. But everybody else that, paid into Social Security for 10 years, 40 quarters, Part A is free, 0. It's not free. You paid for it ahead of the game. But it's 0 premium. Part B, yeah, I've seen a lot of social media talk out there about how much is going to go up. And yeah, I don't put much stock into estimates until, yeah, they'll tell us soon enough. So, wow, some people are really going on the PhD thing. How often do they send out the proof of life forms? It's kind of, it's a hit and miss. Sometimes I've heard people get it every 6 months. I've heard people get it every year and a half, 2 years. There's no rhyme or reason. And now with that office, the Office of International Operations, their staff was really, really cut. So they're they're not even treading water in that office. So that's why it's far more difficult. I was concerned disabled in 2022 and received back pay from then. I was considered disabled 2022 and received back pay from then. I was disabled in 2008. Yeah. How can my wife add her citizenship certificate details to her Social Security? Oh, good question, VR. We used to do that. A lot of offices throughout the country used to go out to naturalization ceremonies and, watch people raise their right hand to become American citizens. A lot of times there were military recruiters waiting there. It's like, okay, now we got you. I mean, they already applied and stuff, but so I just always harass the people going to Marine Corps boot camp and hoorah, high five. Semper Fi. But how you do it is you download an SS5, an application for a Social Security card. That's it. So you're just updating your Social Security card. They're not going to give her a new Social Security number. They are just going to get her certificate of naturalization, whatever, and put it in the record. So in her record, it'll be updated. Some people do it. Some people just wait until they actually go in to retire and update it at that time. So when when she turns 62 or whatever, and she goes into file for benefits, then she can update her citizenship at that time. So at the same time, so one fell swoop. But if she's already receiving Social Security benefits, it might be a good idea to go and update it. So SS5, download it, take that and the certificate of naturalization down to the local Social Security office, and they will update her citizenship. So let's see. Will I get husband's full Social Security that he waited to collect at 70 when he passes? If you are your full retirement age, yes. So, so if he waited to collect until 70, that means he is getting the full delayed retirement credits. So possibly around 24%, depending on what his full retirement age was. So he'll get his benefit amount plus 24%. And as a surviving spouse, you are eligible for those delayed retirement credits. Here's something people mess up all the time so let's say you're 62 years old, 63 years old, and he is 70 and he starts collecting his money, his delayed retirement credits. And you hear me say that if your benefit amount is less than half of his, then you can get benefits on his record. And you're saying, no, Ed is wrong because he gets a lot more. Well, that's his delayed retirement credits. I said his full benefit amount, his PIA. So the calculation is your benefit amount, your PIA at your full retirement age has to be less than half of his PIA, his full retirement age. You don't get those delayed retirement credits as a living spouse. As a surviving spouse, you do. So if you're your full retirement age when that happens, you will get essentially 100% of what he was receiving. So let's see. Should I get from then, do I need an attorney? Yeah, disability. The only time really you need an attorney, I mean, you can get an attorney anytime you want. If you want an attorney to help you with whatever, go for it. More power to you. But in terms of most people, 99.9% of people, when they talk about attorney, they're talking about disability benefits. And the first two stages are so easy. If you watch my videos and then, yeah, but if you want to hire an attorney, go for it. The third stage, the administrative law judge, yeah, I definitely recommend a local attorney. So let's see. I'm on an Advantage plan, Medicare PA. I need to change to B. Yeah, if you have an Advantage plan, you already have. Bella, he did not answer my question. Should I call Social Security each year and ask they review his record to see if there is more money for me? Okay, Carla, yeah, that's a good idea. If you called Social Security and you're eligible for spouse benefits, divorce spouse benefits or whatever, and they tell you at that time you're not eligible because of the calculation, because your benefit amount is not less than half of his, then you're not eligible at that time. But if that person continues to work and pays into Social Security, then next year after that person does all the taxes and then Social Security updates that person's PIA, their primary insurance amount, then yeah, you could very well be eligible. Usually not very much, and it's a few dollars or so because benefits only increase by very small every year. for most people. But at least you'll be on that person's record in case that anything ever happens to that record. You'll be automatically converted to a surviving spouse. So yeah, every year or so after tax season, you can call up and say, okay, is his benefit amount, am I eligible this year? So yeah, yep. Can I get regular Social Security deposit to a foreign bank account if I'm living overseas? Yep, absolutely. And I've got that on my website, and I talk about that. Always confirm, because Social Security employees mess this up all the time. They don't do it that often. They don't know the SWIFT codes and all that stuff. So do it, but don't close out your previous bank account. Because if you're the new direct deposit overseas, it gets messed up or something, then you're going to be out without a check. So if something happens, they can default to your previous bank account. Once you know it's going direct deposit into your new bank account, then you can do whatever you want with the old one. So anyone using Medicare supplements? Yeah, about 49% is the last time I saw. 51% of people choose Medicare Advantage. The other 49% choose Medicare supplements, the Plan N, Plan G, Plan F, and all that stuff. Should I report my seasonal 2-month job to EBT? You should always, because they're going to find out. So if it's a seasonal job to food stamps, sometimes states are, and states are going to get even worse going forward. And that's why we're doing our new project here, is they're going to try everything they possibly can to kick people off because they're going to be losing budget. Bunch of money was taken, $1 trillion, close to $1 trillion was taken out of Medicaid and food stamps and all the rest of it. So states are going to have a hard time, paying for that. So they're going to try everything. And what they've always tried is just make it crazy difficult to get it and to keep it. And one of the ways is if you don't own up to stuff like that, and they could say, well, you're not doing you're not, fulfilling your responsibilities. So therefore we're going to give you a hard time or cut you off or whatever the case may be. So you have to make sure you do everything perfectly. And we're coming up with help on that. Can you change companies on a supplement PPO without penalties, or is it for only on prescription? Okay, supplements, you're talking to Medicare Advantage PPO. Can you change no penalties whatsoever. There's only certain times you can change it, and the big one coming up is the annual enrollment period started October 15th through December 7th. And if you have a PPO, that means you have a Medicare Advantage plan, and that means your prescription drug plan is in your Medicare Advantage plan. So you have to change your entire Medicare Advantage plan if you want different prescriptions or whatever. So unless you've moved or something, or if you're in a Medicare, well, you're probably not in a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan because you have a PPO. But some states are strange. Then you probably don't have a special enrollment period. So you probably have to wait till October 15th. But you can call chapter there and double check because if you're trying to get out of your current plan for whatever reason, and because prescriptions are so high, you can reach out to chapter and see if you're eligible to switch. So let's see here. I'll be turning 65 this year. What are some good websites I can go to learn about Medicare? There appears to be so much information out there, I'm not sure where to go. I can give you one recommendation of a good website where you can go to learn about Medicare, and it's completely free. It's called mygovexpert.com. It's my website. So it has everything in there about what original Medicare is, enrollment periods, what a Medicare Advantage plan, Medicare supplements, Part D, the IRMA, Medicaid, all the rest of it. I think it's relatively easy to understand. So definitely check it out. And it's 100% free. That's always a beautiful thing. All right, we are over an hour and we have completely run out of time again. I apologize for all those people I didn't get to your questions. I'll be back again tomorrow, talk about another topic, and then we'll go to a live Q&A for the rest of the time. Y'all have an awesome night, and please take care of each other.